Okay, so, yeah, I'm running really late today. Kind of expected it, given how late I stayed last night. Didn't get a lot of sleep, but, yeah, well, we'll see how much space I have left on the phone for recording any video. But I mean, I'm mostly just focused on getting to work. If there are any complaints, from the folks at work, well, I stayed late and I got all this stuff set up as I was assigned for their builds today. So, I got that in my favor at least. It's kind of like I'm not rolling into work late because I was just, screwing around. Because I put in, several extra hours to make sure those things are set up. So they wouldn't have to spend, 3 or 4 hours setting the stuff up themselves. And they can kind of just, roll in. If they got to relocate some stuff in the lab, cool. And they can just get going. But, I don't know why I'm coughing. I get tested every week for COVID and I haven't, come back positive, so could probably just be dust in the air. Maybe just my throat is dry. But anyways, it's day, and I forgot to sort of start off this video with this, but it's day 130 of Nofap, doing daily update videos, and I did make a video last night after I got back. I think it was like about 20 to 30 minutes, something like that, but started uploading it. I think it's still uploading at this point, which is kind of strange, but there was that one, I think last weekend, that it took 24 hours to upload for whatever reason. I think it was just the size of the file, and or whichever network I was on, whether it was Wi-Fi or was the phone's network. Because I know when I went to work for those extra few hours on Sunday, and I kind of just checked up on it, it almost it jumped up 20 or 30% within a few minutes. Not even actually there, but it kind of been sitting at maybe 15 or 20% uploaded when I was at home. So. Anyways, the one sort of interesting thing from last night, sleeping, was had a nocturnal emission. I call them wet dreams. But it was the content wasn't sexual in nature. It was this dream about being in an exam, and it was somebody, sort of standing in front of the professor so they couldn't see, and then give me some of the answers for the exam. So my grade got bumped up enough that I didn't bomb the exam or basically fail the class, and something like that did happen at one point in my life. One of my good friends who he was one of the friends who when I started turning my life around, I made friends with him and the group of people that he was, in with, and we would all study together and that sort of deal. But he wasn't in the dream. It was weird because it was this other classmate who had been sort of in with those folks who basically engaged in a campaign of relational aggression against me. But I don't know, this guy. Wow, is there? Sorry, I'm just seeing that there's a bunch of smoke. Yeah, I can smell it. There might be a fire. That's weird. It's California, but anyways, given that my location has been exposed, I think I can say which state I live in. But in that dream, he gave me the answers, and it was I think the thing that caused it to get into the nocturnal emission category was honestly, like, after, like, he stepped away and was pointing, okay, here's the answers, just, copy this down quick, then I said the professor was like, all right, time's up, turn it in, and, that sort of thing, like, if anybody's writing anything more at this point, to 0 on the exam. And I was just like, kind of freaked out of it for a second. Like, I was like, oh, wait, here, take my exam. And, honestly, like, it was almost like the content of the dream was basically a summation of, like, all my times that I've had exams and I've been really stressed out, especially given that I had that quiz yesterday, which is probably where this all came from. Because, some nocturnal emissions for me, they've obviously been, like, of a, quote-unquote, sexual nature. I mean, as one would expect, but then, I think some of it's also been, like, if I got far enough along on Nofap where there was really no more stimuli of that kind of a nature, that the content, would change into other things that, were sort of, like, bugging me. It was almost like my mind was creating sort of a mask for, a process that had nothing to do with the content of the dream. So, like, there was one I had, I don't know how long ago it was, I think it was a few years ago, where it was, like, me driving on the freeway, and I was, like, in a little, like, like a Miata or something like that, and you know how the horn sounds, it's like, and I'm away, that sort of thing, and I was on this freeway on this dream, and I'm driving along there, and this, huge Mack truck just, like, swerves into the lane, like, it crossed, like, 3 or 4 lanes, and I had to slam on the brakes and swerve around it, and somehow I didn't, like, run into any sort of, other car or object or a tree, or, I didn't flip the car or anything, and I swerved around, and I think I slowed down, or I pulled over, so, but, like, that's when it went, to a nocturnal emission, because it was, like, that sort of jolt, that sort of bit of, like, adrenaline, kind of kicked in. It was like, oh, crap, and swerving around the Mack truck so I wouldn't die, and that's when I woke up, and, I remember when that happened, when I woke up, I started laughing, because I was just like, what the heck was that? Like, really, what the heck was that? Especially for it to turn to that kind of a dream where, the physical effect was there, and, that specific kind. It wasn't like, just waking up in a cold sweat, or, your heart's pumping, but it was like that. It was just like, what? That doesn't make any sense. It's not like your, stereotypical, nocturnal emission where it's like, you're fantasizing about some girl or something like that. It was like, okay, I'm driving on the freeway, I almost get hit by a Mack truck, and then that happens, it's like, so, it was one of those ones where I got to laugh at it, but this one, it was like, sort of a stress dream that turned into a nocturnal emission, and it was like, it was weird, but, weird because, again, you tend to, I think on Nofap, you tend to, like, associate those kinds of dreams with, like, PMO, that you're constantly sort of piling in those kinds of images and sounds and, that sort of stuff, stimuli, and when you remove that and your body still does that sort of thing, because you do have, a natural, like, physiological process, or a sort of loop, if you will, that does exist there outside of, when you're aging in PMO, and it still goes on. It's just like, it's almost like your body's looking for an excuse. Okay, like, give this guy, like, a really funky dream, and use it as a cover. Just do it. Just do it. He can't know that this process is just natural, and obviously, like, I think back when I had my longest, Nofap streak, which, I'm hoping to turn this one into that, into, like, the next, one, so I can avoid having to go back and revisit old memories. of a time when, well, life wasn't what it is right now, but I remember one time I had nocturnal emissions for, I think it was pretty much every day for an entire week, and it was and it's kind of a funny story. I might tell. I think I've told some folks when, they're folks who just discovered about Nofap, and were kind of, I've gone through so many days, and I was bragging, I got through 9 months, bro, sort of thing. But I had to I had to try to explain what was going on, because I was I was showering all the dang time, and I was having to wash my bed sheets 6 or 7 times in a row. I was at, and the awkward thing about it is that I was at my parents' place, during the summer, and tried to explain to my dad okay, why are you washing this again? You only need to do that once a week, or once every 2 weeks. What's going on? And then I had to explain to him, and obviously I thought at first, he's from the baby boomer generation, and he kind of find that weird, why would that be happening, sort of thing. But then I remember he kind of chuckled and asked me, so what did she look like, sort of thing, because he got it. I mean, it was awkward at first, but it was just kind of funny, because again, you think someone from his day and age, they wouldn't, understand this sort of stuff. But, I think he's the only person in my family who I ever talked to about, the whole PMO and NoFap thing. Because, he actually will sit there and, listen to you and try and understand, and not jump into judging. If I tried to explain stuff, and I would not want to talk about this with my sister, and my mother. That's sort of a unwritten rule. You just don't talk about the stuff with them. But if they wanted to try and understand, why I was the way I was, because as a person, because a large part of it was, the whole PMO problem. Not only would they just not get it, because they're not. I hate to bring gender into this, but now when you're talking about that, you kind of do. There's a reason that PMO is such a problem for guys predominantly. I'm not saying there aren't women out there who suffer from it, or deal with it, or contend with it, but I'd be willing to bet 97, 98% of the folks, let's say, who are on the Nofap subreddit, or on nofap.com, or just even perusing Nofap content, vlogs or whatever, articles, that at least 90%, if not all the way to let's say 97, 98% are guys, and there's a reason for that, and trying to explain to women why PMO is so addicting, or it sort of feeds into sort of a compulsion, if you will, for guys. They don't understand that, and they'll just think of you as disgusting or filthy, and for them, quitting from that it's not about here's what it's gonna do for you as a guy. It's more what's the classic don't objectify women thing, that sort of deal. That they'll look at it from that angle. So I really tried to avoid talking to either of them about it. They're just not going to get it, and you're going to get that sort of negative response right off the bat. So it's just kind of a waste of your time. Again, I've only really talked about it to with my dad, and he seemed to understand, what the issue was and that sort of deal. But I sort of looped back around. That was kind of the one thing that really happened, and I didn't get to take a full shower last night, so I guess I took this as an opportunity to take care of that issue. But it's kind of part of one of the reasons why I am running late. But I think probably the biggest thing is just the fact that I stayed so late last night, and really, really tired. I got my cup of coffee, so I'm not like feeling it right now, but maybe in a few hours I'll be feeling it. We'll see. Today's Thursday. It's the 25th, February 2021. Tomorrow should be payday. Try to make sure that I had enough money in my accounts in there for my car insurance payment, because that processes on the 26th every month. Almost like every day I go into work, I'm reminded of like why I want to get out of debt, why I'm so dead set on sticking with Nofap and putting in the hours to make that money, so that sooner rather than later I don't have to be stressing about money, thinking about all the dang time. It's kind of funny how that kind of comes up because I watched a little bit of some Dave Ramsey talk about the whole student loan forgiveness deal, where basically like that's not going to happen, essentially. Which I already knew it wasn't going to happen. You talk about and I could probably make a video, but it'd probably be like another journey out of debt video, and maybe a little more philosophical as opposed to practical logging of progress sort of a deal. But you can just kind of do the math as to how much that would be, and when they talk about doing stuff like that, it's really, as far as I can tell, somebody wants to correct me on this, if I'm wrong, but it sounds like quote unquote forgiving these loans would mean that amount will get tacked onto the national debt, which will probably mean a tax hike, because they need to pay that, pay for that. So, either way, it's kind of like you're paying for it now or you're paying for it later, and you kind of either you're doing individually or you're spreading it out over, hundreds of millions of people who are, the taxpayers, that sort of thing. But again, I try to emphasize personal responsibility, which is why I'm even on this journey, so to speak. Why I'm at this grind. Why I've been making it a point to try and pay off all my debts. Because whether you want to talk about from the Nofap angle of this is your problem and you need to take charge of it and solve it, or it's the student loan issue where it's like it or not, I signed on the dotted line, I took those loans out, and if I, didn't do my due diligence to graduate on time, or, establish or reestablish a focus, even though, I will have to sort of give myself some leeway or some credit, or, show myself a bit of a tolerance insofar as, when I was, when I had to go back home after the first time at college, it was really difficult for the first 3 to 4 years. I didn't really have a mission, and it's sort of like certain people in my family took advantage of that fact when they decided to sort of muck around with their health and controlled substances, and essentially I became sort of like the manservant and almost like the beating post, alongside my dad. But when I started making the right kinds of friends and really, establishing a mission and just sort of being willing to make myself my own mental point of origin and not really sort of take any crap, from those other individuals, and not waste my time, do my due diligence, be cognizant of what I need to do and actually going and doing that work. And life started to turn around, but either way, I signed on the dotted line. I took those loans out there in my name. I've paid off most of the accounts at this point. Amount-wise, it doesn't seem like that much, but I'm. Well, let me see. Let's see. If I if I get the loan I'm currently working on paying off, that'll basically mean that I think I'm halfway paid off in terms of amount that I took out, roughly halfway paid off. And yeah, it's kind of like what I'm working towards. Eventually, obviously, having them all paid off, but yeah, I'm just constantly reminded of like, why I'm on this path, why I'm on this journey, because this kind of thing just isn't sustainable. And if I've got to do this grind, I've got to work hard for a few years. I gotta live like no one else so that I can one day live like no one else. Then that's sort of the price they have to pay. And it's sort of a lesson learned as to why, like, you have to sort of be awake and aware of when you're making these kind of decisions, and and signing these documents, and entering into these agreements. You can't sleepwalk through life and expect to wake up in the promised land. You have to know where you're going, what it's going to take, what are the costs versus the benefits. You can't just be like, okay, I'll do whatever you told me to do, and then later on get all mad because surprise, surprise, they took advantage of your ignorance and your laziness and got you on the hook for however many tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, it'd be like buying a car from someone and not doing your due diligence to research into the condition of the car, and then getting mad when you find out that you just bought a lemon. That sort of deal. But gotta do that. Anyways, I'm getting close to work now, actually. About as behind on time as I expected to be, given the time of the day and all that. And the refill light just came on. I think back when I was maybe halfway through where I'm at in this video. This car does have I think it's about 43 miles additionally once that light goes on, and the nearest gas station, which I've had to go, it's one exit up from where my work is at, so I'll just have to swing by there after work and fill it up. And given the distance I had to typically commute at this point, it's I only really have to fill up every 2 weeks, as opposed to the old job where it was every week I had to fill up, because it's half the commute. So I need to get over here or take the exit. Okay, and we are over. Okay, so coming up on the exit now, and I also have to go into work, and like I said, they're somehow annoyed at me or frustrated or whatever. I'll explain. I stayed as late as I did, and yesterday I was actually there, I don't know, 10-15 minutes I think it was before my build partner showed up, and I had all the forms printed out and all the information you can pull from the the Excel spreadsheet already on the form. So guess you'll have to forgive me for being a little late today, because I took care of stuff yesterday. But anyways, what else? I don't really have much to say. I mean, it's 10 days past the 4-month mark. I guess that would be 20 days from now, about 3 weeks, and I'd be at what would that be? 5 months roughly. So just gonna keep at it. I might not actually get to the some of the goals I set way back when I get 3 months, but they're set like that for a reason. You set them a little bit higher, then you might be able to attain, just to sort of motivate yourself. And even if you don't get all the way to there, you will at least hopefully make some significant progress. And then when I get to that 6-month mark, the idea would obviously be like to go and readjust my goals, and I say, okay, here's what I want to do the next 3 months. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for now. I'm coming up on the last couple turns before I gotta go park. So I'll see you folks around, and once the other video uploads, then I'll upload this one. So again, I'll see you folks around. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye.